Hi, very good morning. It's Jim from maverickstar. How you doing, guys? Just wanted to quickly let you know that tomorrow we'll be doing the positioning of the North Magnetic Pole, and you can find out all about that on Patreon if you want to go over our option. Been a very few difficult days dealing with our little stalker, which has recently brought himself from a simmer to a boil. And I thought I could do something about that. I thought I could rely on the the police to realise and do something about it. Obviously they refuse to do anything at all, and I think that's really concerning, because there are a lot more seriouser cases than mine. I mean, I've had to put up with Brian Gunderson for 2 years, repeatedly sending emails, sometimes 2 or 3 in one day, for a good couple of years now. And what do you do? I mean, people said to me, "Oh, just ignore him." Tried that. Block him. Tried that as well. Just keeps coming back with different accounts. After doing that video the other day I did on him, he said, "Guess what, Gene? You've got me for the rest of your life. I ain't going nowhere." Can you believe that? We live in a world where he's the first and only stalker I've ever had, but we live in a world where out of a certain amount of people you get a Brian Gunderson pop up, and when you do, they are like AIDS. Once you've got it, you can't get rid of it. It's that bad, honestly. And I've tried reasoning with this guy, but no matter what you do with a person like this, a determined hater, you will never stop him. That's the truth. I'm just hoping one day he makes good on what he's promised and turns up at my front door, because that will be the day all this stops. I'll leave that to your imagination as to what I'll do. I think I'll kick his arse from one end of the street all the way to the other, just to say the least. I really, really hate this guy. And like I say, I've tried to reason with him, but whenever you confront him with whatever he's accusing you of, he then moves on to something else, and then something else, and then something else, and you can't win. He's a narcissist. But they grind you down, these people. He's partly responsible for the firewall now on the pole shift latest positioning. You can blame him for that, partly. Him, YouTube, and those other haters out there. You know what, guys? I can't do nothing about the financial situation that you're in right now. I wish I could. And you know what? We've proved ourselves here at the Observatory. Time and time again. Absolutely proved ourselves. We've showed you our equipment. We've told you honestly about the people that supported us over the time with, their data that they collected. We didn't sell the magnetometers or the muon detectors to anyone. We give them away in the trust that they would just send us back the data once a month. So we've sold nothing. We've sold you no cups, no mugs, no t-shirts, no bumper stickers, nothing at all. We just said, if you're interested in this topic, and it's not for everybody, let's face it. The magnetic North Pole is known by less than probably 3 or 4% of the world's population. They don't know what the implications are of the magnetic North Pole migrating. They don't know a lot about the grand solar minimum that we're in, and they don't know certainly about the fact that we are possibly about to enter a thermocline due to the returning of a glacial period. All the science organisations out there are aware of these things, but it seems that these important factors that play more of a contributor to climate change just simply is not on the table for discussion. What is CO2, net zero, electric vehicles, things like that. And if you are one of those people that own an electric vehicle, I would advise you right now to try and get out of it, because Mercedes-Benz have just said that they are not going to just produce electric vehicles like they've been told to, because they know that there's a big problem with electric vehicles. One, let's face it, let's start with the beginnings of the electric vehicle crisis. First of all, when you plug your electric vehicle in, you're probably charging it up off a coal power station, because that's how clean your electric vehicle is. Secondly, the impact on the environment, where the basic elements are mined, cobalt, lithium, the impact on the environment of those open cast mines, let alone not just the environmental impact and the damage it does to its surrounding areas, but the impact on the well-being of the workforce. And in a lot of cases, I'm not joking, yes, I could exaggerate and say, oh, they're all children that work in there, but it's not the case. They're not all children, but some of them are. But their working environment is toxic, and the pay is very small. What we've done is shifted from the blood diamond market and that industry and the workforce to the cobalt and lithium. And then there is, if you look at this, I watched a documentary the other day. A guy brought a second-hand Porsche Tuscan electric, and he's owned it for a short while. He's got absolutely sick and tired of the range being so short. He took it back to Porsche, and Porsche said, you know what, we can't give you what you paid for it. He paid £120,000 for this car, sterling. They said that they couldn't give him anywhere near back that figure, because of they had just brought out a new version of that vehicle that had longer distance and was faster. Do you know what they offered him? Less than £40,000. That's not just Porsche Tuscans electrics, it's electric vehicles across the range. He said, I think in the document, you can find him if you type it in on the YouTube search, you'll find him. He said the battery replacement was about £50,000. £50,000. And if you've owned a mobile phone or electric toothbrush or anything along those lines, that they have a limited lifespan. And it is no different for electric vehicles. Tesla, here's my prediction. I believe Tesla's going to go out of business. Not just because of the fact that on X at the moment it's running at a 50% loss. They just can't get the advertisement for it. But I don't think that will be the only thing that pulls that company down. I think it will be the sales and the loss of sales of its electric Teslas. And let's face it, he's just set himself up, Elon Musk, as not the most desirable person on the block in the arena of those controlling elites. And because of that, they're pulling away from him. So, I wouldn't be surprised. You know what? I might be wrong. I hope I am, because I like Elon Musk. But I've got a feeling that his company is going to go bankrupt within probably 12 months, with all the pressures that are on him, and the fact that we have entered, a time where the inflation is starting to hit everybody. I spotted it. It was no mistake. You know what? I thought I had a foolproof plan here, international support, but what we saw since October was 80% of that support drop off, because people just simply couldn't afford to support us anymore. And that's why we firewalled, the main things that we do here at the Observatory that really had any value to people. And we saw that, most people were only coming for that information on the day we released it. So, with the hope to keep things above water, we firewalled it on Patreon. We set it at the lowest fee. And we don't offer anything else on Patreon. That's all we want to do is keep, the information flowing with regards to what's going on with the magnetic North Pole and what's happening with the different intensities around our world as we go through this magnetic pole migration. So, that's what we did. But you know what? Watching YouTube videos of people that I subscribe to without mentioning names, I can see that everybody's going through the same problem at the moment. I was watching a documentary on the South, Louisiana in America, and there was a Cajun bakery that had been passed down 4 generations since the 1800s to the current owner, and he was still using the exact same recipe as what he was using, what his family members and were using back in the 1800s, and he kept the recipe to this day. You probably know who I'm talking about if you live in that region, and you probably know who done the video as well. Peter, if ever you follow, any of you follow him, I'm sure you do. I think it's Peter Santilli. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I do watch him. I am subscribed to him. I love his videos, and what the baker was saying is that even at $2.50 a loaf of bread, people were struggling to find that, and that's how hard it is for some people. And the sad thing is having a little bit of grey matter. That this situation has got to go a lot worse before it gets better, because what we're at is a point in time where the global empire is going to collapse. It really is. When you look at what happened to the Roman Empire when that collapsed, what happened was it used to be a real special thing if you was a Roman soldier. And the only way you could be a Roman soldier is if you was, Rome. You lived in Rome. You was a real thoroughbred. And then when they started conquering all over the world, they needed soldiers. So they just allowed anyone to be a soldier. And then it made it not so special. We all get this feeling of patriotic sense of, oh, it's really good to be English, or it's really good to be an American. Look what we've achieved, and look how we angle ourselves, and look how we're seen. But when you open up the borders, like Richard Sunak, and just let thousands and thousands of immigrants in, it's exactly what the Romans did. When you open up your southern borders to Mexico and let millions and millions of these refugees in, you know what? You dilute that very special thing. And that's exactly what's going on now. They're letting it happen. Richie Sunak doesn't think that the immigration problem is a problem in this country. And when people have that mentality, they're never going to do anything about it. But, it's the same in America, and it'll be the same in other countries as well. The America now is seeing not just people from South Americas come across that border. They're seeing people from China, can you believe, come across that border. So it's open season on the United States. You got people like Joe Biden that have fed off the public taxpayers over there for an entire career, and he's got the audacity to point a finger at Donald Trump. Well, you know what, I don't like either of them, to be honest. I don't like them and I don't dislike them, is the honest thing. But here's what I will say, as I said before, Donald Trump has built skyscrapers, which has actually employed people. Joe Biden has never done anything to put a single person in job other than, his cabinet members. And, I think that speaks more than one word, doesn't it? Look at how he's protected and covered up, Hunter Biden and his laptop. His double deals with China and Russia. It's ridiculous. But it's the world we live in, and it's going to get worse. And I'll tell you why it's going to get worse. Because the very simple understandings of any economy are just being totally overlooked. You can't have a runaway increase in technological advancement, because that does not create jobs. It removes them. And when you've got an increase in population and an increase in technological advancement, that means that there are going to be less jobs for less people. And you already know it as well as I do. There is no such thing as a job for life. Because it doesn't matter what you do now with self-autonomy. We've got planes, cars, trucks now that can drive themselves without human beings being at the wheel. Although it's not allowed at the moment, but it will be soon. It will go full self-autonomy. We've got artificial intelligence. You know what? I was watching a program on YouTube, and I thought, I'll do that. Let's ask Chat GPT-4 to create an image of a Tesla that was painted in multi-rainbow colours in the background of, a desolate scene of destruction. And it did it. And what was shocking is that it had created the image in a rainy scene, so that the tarmac on the road was reflecting the perfect image of the car, and it had done it exactly as I said. I will show you one day, guys. I've kept it. I thought, I don't like Teslas, but my God, it nailed it, and it did it in seconds. I tell you what, this image you could put on a large canvas and sell it. People would buy it, especially those people that own Teslas, because it is a real good image. And that was created within about 3 or 4 seconds. It is, there's a business there for someone in its own right. Just getting artificial intelligence to generate images like that. You printing them on poster size, paper, and selling them. It really is incredible. But it's dangerous for the fact that it takes jobs away. And, if we're going to be living in a monetary system and trying to participate in, this system that we've got at the moment, I don't know how it's going to be achieved. And those people that are running our countries know about the capital system. They know about the problem that we face, and yet are the least likely people to do anything about it. So we're in a lot of trouble. And you know what? I know you, as well as I, have seen the shops closing in the little centres, the little villages, the towns. And when I look around now, it seems to be charity shops. I think that there is benefits for charity shops because they don't have to pay rates or something like that. Charity shops, you might have a coffee shop, a betting shop, and your average food shop, and that's about it. All the little specialised shops that used to be in the high street just simply aren't there no more. I was watching another documentary yesterday on New York. You know what? I told people to get out of New York. If they'd have listened to me last year when I said that, they would have saved themselves probably 10-15% on the value of the house. Now they're 10-15% down, and it's going to get worse. Think about this, they're still pushing net zero. So how are you going to, own a vehicle in New York when you live in one of these multi-storey buildings? How are you going to charge it up? This is a problem already. And, probably 5-10% of the cars in New York are electric. How are you going to charge this car up? I saw in this documentary someone waiting nearly an hour and a half to get on the charger. And when they did, one of the chargers out, the two that was there, weren't working. And this is a problem that I'm finding with a lot of people with electric vehicles. They get to the charger, it's out of service. Or they've had to wait 2 hours in a queue before they can get on the charge, when it's going to take an hour to charge the car up nearly. And that's why, they cut the losses at the end of the day. That guy with the Porsche Tuscan, the electric one, was prepared to lose £50,000 to get out of it. He was going back to a 911. So, the electric car industry isn't going to be there like it is at the moment. And manufacturers are starting to say, no way are we going to put all our eggs in one basket, whilst other countries, produce combustion engine cars. Here's the deal. It takes 3 minutes to put a full tank of fuel in your car when you're using a gasoline or a diesel engine. You ain't got to wait hours in a queue to get on the charger, and you haven't got to wait an hour whilst you're on that charge for it to charge up. That's if the charger isn't broke. It's insane. They really are ruining industry across the range. Where's it coming from? It's coming from the United Nations, the European Union, the World Health Organization, the International Monetary Fund, all these organizations where these people have taken it upon themselves to be authoritarian over governments that are elected by a democratic process, or at least not a rigged, hopefully, process. But yet, we saw it yesterday. The dictating to the British government from the European Union and the United Nations. You got the International Monetary Fund saying to our governments, you can't lower interest rates. And of course they're saying, we've got inflation, under control. It isn't. It's not. You know it. Inflation is at an all-time high still. The figures that they're showing the people are just rubbish. But anyhow, guys, you know what? It's Sunday, Easter Sunday. And there was a guy a few thousand years that sacrificed everything for what we've got today. He tipped the tables on the tax collectors in the market. Sacrificed everything he had for us, for this moment in time that we share today. So if nothing else, give thanks to Jesus Christ, the Lord and our Saviour. And let's hope that you join us tomorrow on Patreon, where we'll do the latest magnetic North Pole. Only other thing for me to say is you take care of your loved ones, guys. As always, bye for now.